Hi guys, welcome to this new video on Python. In this video, I am going to show you how you can do comparison between multiple machine learning models for your data and choose the optimum one for your solution. So the data set that I am using in this video is from an hackathon of Machine Hack. So you can visit their website and there are multiple hackathons going on. So this is the data. What we have to predict is the unit price. So this is the training CSV. In the similar way, we have the test CSV. Definitely it's a regression problem. So which regression algorithm is best suited for this data? So let's get started. So firstly, let's import some basic dependencies: NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib and Seaborn. And then we see using the Pandas, we read the training data and we see the first 5 rows of the training data. So this is the training data, which has invoice number, stock code, description, quantity, invoice date, unit price, customer ID and country. So this is our target variable, that is the unit price. So in the similar way, we check for the test data. So here you will find only one field is missing, that is the unit price, because in the training data they give the unit price along with the predictor variables, and in the test data they don't give the independent variable. So let's see some more information about our training data using the info method. So here we get that all the fields in our data is of this type, that is some of them are integer 64, float 64 as well as objects. That means that we have both categorical as well as numerical data in our data set. So let's see some basic stats about the data. So we get the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25% quantile, 50% quantile and 75% quantile using this describe method. Let's see the shape of the training and test data. So this is the shape of our trained data and this is the shape of our test data. And let's check for the null values, that means the missing values in our training data. So for checking the missing values, we have this one line of code, that is data dot is null dot sum. So what it will do is that on the data, first of all it will check all the null values on particular columns, and then it will get the sum for individual columns. So here you can see that we don't have any missing values in our data set. So the next step is, let's separate out the integer and the categorical columns in our data set that we have, that is the training data. So for that you need to just write this few lines of code, that is from the data using the select dtype method and include the methods like object and category, and then the column names of that particular column which has the object type of object or category are converted to list and they are stored in this cat columns. So similar way we can separate out the categorical and the numerical columns. After running this cell, we get that we only have one categorical column, that is the invoice date, and except that all the columns, that is the invoice number, stock code, description, quantity, unit price, customer ID and country, lie in the numerical columns. So what I wanted to do is that I wanted to find out the number of categories in each of this categorical column. So here we have only this invoice date, so let's find out how many categories are there inside this invoice date using this simple 4 lines of code. So what it will do is that it will take all the columns which are in this categorical column total list, and it will apply this n unique on it, and then using the lambda function we will get the list of all the unique objects, and finally then we will zip all the columns in the cat columns and the unique objects together so that we get it in columnar form. Here we have in the invoice date we have 19,451 categories, so this is too high. So what we will do is that we will drop this invoice date from our dataset. Here we are dropping the invoice date, that is this categorical column, since it has so many categories, so it won't be useful for our machine learning problem. So we drop it, and along with that we are also dropping the invoice number, because all the invoice number are unique and they are not going to help for our prediction. So this is our new data now. So let's check for the skewness in the dataset. So this is the skewness in the dataset, and then in the unit price, that is our target variable, let's check for the histogram. So here you can see that it is very highly skewed. We cannot fit this data directly to a machine learning algorithm, so we need to do some scaling before we fit it to any regression model. So we'll do scaling in a while, but let's check for the correlation of the data with the target variable. So here we get the correlation matrix, and from the correlation matrix, if we want to compare it with the unit price, because unit price is the target variable, so we can use this correlation matrix dot unit price dot sort values ascending equal to false, and if we just run it, so we will get all the values which are correlated positively or negatively the unit price, and we will get it in the descending order. So these variables are highly correlated. So if we want to see which variables are not correlating to the model, and we want to remove them, so using this one line of code we can do that. Next is we are separating the target variable, that is the unit price is separated from the predictors, that is all the other columns except the unit price. And what we will do is that we will apply the power transformer which is available in this sklearn package. In the pre-processing module we are importing power transformer, and we are creating an object called as power, and from the power transformer we are using the method called as Yo-Johnson and standardize equal to true. So let's fit the data on this power transformer. So now the power transformation is done on the y variable since it was very highly skewed. So the next thing is that now we will split the data into training and testing part. So for splitting the data from the sklearn model selection, we are importing the train test split, and we are creating the four variables, that is xtrain, xtest, ytrain and ytest. And using the train test split method, we are passing in the predictors, the target, the test size, that is how much we want the split. So here we are getting an 80-20 split, and random state, that is for reproducible result, we are passing it as none. So let's split all the variables. Now the next thing is that, so we want to get which algorithm should we use for this kind of regression problem. So this was the main motto of this video. So we have so many options, that is linear regression, lasso regression, elastic net regression, decision tree regression, then we have the k nearest neighbor regressor, then we have the gradient boosting regressor. So which one will be the best choice for such kind of data? So instead of putting your head into the mathematical aspect and calculating which regressor would be best for your data, we will apply some logic and try to find out. So here what we have done is that, except this regressor, we have this min max scaler, and we have this k-fold cross validation also imported from the sklearn model selection, and along with that we also have the cross validation score. And then we have this warnings, simple warnings, filter warning is equal to ignore, so that we get we are rid of this deprecation warning from sklearn. This is done. Now the next step is, from the sklearn.pipeline we are importing the pipeline. So what we will be doing is that, in the pipeline here we have an empty list that is initiated, and in this pipeline we are appending all the objects of, first of all we have the scaler, that is min max scaler as default, and beside that we are creating objects of all regression models like the linear regression, lasso regression, elastic net regression, k nearest neighbor regressor, decision tree regressor and gradient boosting regressor. All the models have been appended inside this pipeline. So we are opening a for loop for name and model in this pipeline. We are applying k-fold cross validation with 10 splits, that is all the data will be divided into 10 parts, and training will happen on each one of them using the random state equal to 21, so that we get the same results every time. And then we use the cross validation score on the x train and y train, using the cross validation as k-fold cross validation, which we have declared here above. We are passing in this cross validation score, and this module was imported above here. It was imported. What we do is that we append this to the results, and the names are appended to the name. And what we print is that we print the cross validation results mean and the cross validation results standard deviation. So after this piece of code has ran properly, so here you can see the mean of the cross validation of all these, that is scaled LR, scaled lasso, scaled elastic net, scaled k nearest neighbor, cart, as well as gradient boosting regressors. So in the KNN we are getting a pretty acceptable result. So what we'll do is that we will go ahead with this KNN. So here we are importing the k nearest neighbors again. We have initiated a score, and then for k in multiple range. So a big question when applying k nearest neighbor is how much the value of k should be, correct? So we are applying it in the range of 1 to 20. Then we have opened an object here called as CLF on the k nearest neighbors, and we have this k nearest neighbor equal to k. So every time it will run in the loop and it will fit it on the training data, and it will check for the score on the test data. Once your k nearest neighbor has been applied on this multiple range of k's, we can check out on which k we are getting the maximum accuracy. So let's find out. So we get the maximum accuracy on the test data set on k is equal to 3. We are getting an accuracy of around 82.72%. So what we'll do is that we'll again fit it on this k equal to 3, and then we will predict it for the test data set. So we will get the y predicted for the test data set. That is the ultimate aim of our model. What I have done here is that I have imported joblib. So joblib is a library in Python which is used for saving your model into a pickle format. So instead of joblib you could also have imported pickle, but there are some problems with pickle sometimes, so you better use joblib. Joblib is a better alternative to pickle. So we dump the model using this pickle. So now if you see here, you will find this k nearest neighbor machine hack save. So this is the model that is saved. So let's check it on the test data set that we have. So we need to go through all the processes that we went for the training data set above, and then we will predict it on the test data set. So this is the result. We are using the clf.predict method on the test data, and let's check for the result. Here we are getting the result in the form of an array. So let's convert it to a data frame. So now we have the result captured in the data frame, but one thing you will notice here is that some of the predicted price is negative. So here any person with common sense can also judge that this is wrong, right? There cannot be any price which can be negative. So this is because we had applied power transform above. So we are getting results accordingly. So now if you want the perfect result, we need to apply inverse power transformer to the results. So we have the results captured in this data frame. So we will be applying the inverse power transformation on our result using this inverse transform method. So we get it in the form of an array. Let's convert it to data frame. So this is the predicted result, or we can say the predicted unit price on the test data. So let's convert this to Excel. So we get the results saved here. So let's check for the results. So this is the unit price of all the test data. So I hope that this video that I have shown is clear to you and you don't face any difficulties in applying this code on your end, and you can easily judge which of the regression model should you choose for your data set. So this is how you can do it. If you have any doubts regarding this video, feel free to write in the comment section below, or any method or anything that I have applied seems confusing to you, do write in the comment section below. I will try to reply to them. Till then, if you like my work, please do hit the like, share and subscribe button.